the American Federation of Teachers, the New York Times editorial board, and the famed Democrat Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. History has proven them right, absolutely right. After 45 years, the United States spends more money on education by far than any other country, and spends likewise by far more money per pupil than any country, and it's not even close. But yet we rank near the bottom of the list in terms of success. It's an amazing stat. Those are two stats you don't want: the most money spent per pupil, and you're at the bottom of the list. And that's where we are, like it or not, and we've been there for a long time. 70% of 8th graders are not proficient in either reading or in math. 70%. 40% of 4th graders lack even basic reading skills, can't read. Students in our public elementary and middle schools score worse in reading today than when the department opened, by a lot. In Baltimore, 40% of the high schools have 0 students who can do basic mathematics. Not even the very simplest of mathematics. I said, give me your definition of basic, and they're talking about like adding a few numbers together. Despite these breathtaking failures, the department's discretionary budget has exploded by 600% in a very short period of time, and it employs bureaucrats in buildings all over Washington, D.C. And as a former real estate person, I will tell you, I ride through the streets of Washington and it says Department of Education, Department of Education. I said, how do you fill those buildings? It's crazy what's happened over the years. I'm pleased to report that after offering these federal employees 2 generous buyout options, and they were very generous, and they're good people, but they were very generous. My administration has initiated a reduction in force, and we're already cutting numbers that were really surprising to a lot, that we were able to do it so successfully. And we've cut the number of bureaucrats in half. 50% have taken office, which is great. Thank you. Under the action I'm taking today, a small handful of Democrats and others that we have employed for a long time, and there are some Republicans, but not too many, I have to be honest with you. But the department's useful functions, and such as, and they're in charge of them: Pell Grants, Title I funding, resources for children with disabilities and special needs will be preserved, fully preserved. They're all going to be so. If you look at the Pell Grants, it's supposed to be a very good program. Title I funding and resources for children with special disabilities and special needs, they're going to be preserved in full and redistributed to various other agencies and departments that will take very good care of them. And that's very important to Linda, I know, and it's very important to all of us. But beyond these core necessities, my administration will take all lawful steps to shut down the department. We're going to shut it down, and shut it down as quickly as possible. It's doing us no good. We want to return our students to the states where just some of the governors here are so happy about this. They want education to come back to them, to come back to the states, and they're going to do a phenomenal job. You know, if you look, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, I have to tell you, I give them a lot of credit. China's top 10. And so we can't now say that bigness is making it impossible to educate, because China is very big. But you have countries that do a very good job in education. And I really believe, like some of the governors here today, from states that run very, very well, including a big state like Texas, but states that run very well are going to have education that will be as good as Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and those top, Finland, those top countries that do so well with education. I think they'll do every bit as well. And what do you think about that, Governor? Do you agree? I think so. Ron, do you agree? I think so. Florida? Iowa? That's right. I really believe that. They'll be as good as any of them. And then you'll have some laggards, and we'll work with them. And we can all tell you who the laggards will be right now, probably, but let's not get into that. But we'll work with them, and we're going to make them, they'll do a job. I think they'll do a job, and they'll go to sections of the state. For instance, New York, you'll have a Manhattan, and you'll have a Suffolk County, and you'll have Nassau County, and you have Westchester County. You'll do 4 or 5 or 6 of them. You have upstate New York, and those counties, I think, are going to do very well. And I think ultimately Manhattan should do very well. But we'll break it down into sections, and I think it'll be really, really good. And they're going to be probably the tougher ones, but I think they have a chance to do really well. But we're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs, and this is a very popular thing to do, but much more importantly, it's a common sense thing to do, and it's going to work. Absolutely, it's going to work. And I can tell you from dealing with the governors and others in the state, they want it so badly. They want to take their children back and really teach their children individually. Probably the cost will be half, and the education will be maybe many, many times better. So we look forward to this. I want to just make one little personal statement. Teachers, to me, are among the most important people in this country, and we're going to take care of our teachers. And I don't care if they're in the union or not in the union. That doesn't matter. But we're going to take care of our teachers, and I believe the states will take actually better care of them than they are taken care of right now. They'll work all sorts of systems and even merit systems. Those great teachers are going to be maybe a little bit better rewarded, or maybe that's the way it should be, but the states are going to make that decision. But we're going to love and cherish our teachers along with our children, and they're going to work with the parents, and they're going to work with everybody else, and it's going to be an amazing thing to watch, and it's really going to be something special. And Linda, you're presiding over something that's so important, and you're going to do a fantastic job, just like you have your whole life. I know your whole life I've been watching you. I've been watching you for a long time. She's had nothing but success. So it's tremendous to have you, and hopefully you won't be there too long, but we're going to find something else for you, Linda, okay? So this will conclude what we are talking about with respect to our most cherished group of people, and that's our children. We want to have our children well educated. We want them to love going to school. We have examples of it. Look at those beautiful, bright-eyed faces. They are so smart. They're so smart. And with that, I'm going to come down, and we're going to sign a very important document, and we're going to be on our way. People have wanted to do this for many, many years, for many, many decades. And I don't know, no president ever got around to doing it, but I'm getting around to doing it, so thank you very much. Good-looking people here. Should I do this? It was very lucky. I signed another document that turned out to be very good for the country, and I said, let's use that same pen. I don't know, is anybody superstitious? Ron, are you superstitious? Let's use that same pen. Can you come up just to say? Very important, big factor here. Good luck.
All right, you're looking at live news conference there of the president just signing the executive order to dismantle the education department. We had expected this news conference. He signed it, and he made it clear that he wants to bring education back to the States. And as you can see, he had even some students there sitting at desks as this unfolded. So right now, the Trump administration is going to be giving guidance about what would happen now that the DOE is dismantled. And keep in mind, he still needs full approval of the Congress to make this happen. So again, you're looking at not live pictures from the White House. President Trump just signed the order to dismantle the Education Department. What does this mean for special education? What does this mean for loans? What does this mean for Pell Grants? We're going to break it down with our correspondents next. You're watching CBS News 24/7.
I can see clearly now.
Clearly, CBS Mornings.
Weekdays on CBS.
Yeah!
Tony, coming?
No, I'm gonna stick around for an hour.
Hey!
CBS Mornings Plus with Adriana Diaz and Tony DeCopel, right after CBS Mornings.
It's just like mornings.
Plus fun.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
Politics isn't a game.
When do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Politics is about policy.
So you would encourage Democrats to work with Donald Trump on an issue like health care?
I'm a voracious consumer of information, and I'm impatient. I don't like to be spun.
Do you know if there are active terror cells in the United States right now?
To be moderator of Face the Nation means bringing the most powerful stakeholders to the table to become better informed.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
While America's relaxing policies around social media and the internet, Germany is cracking down on lies and vitriol online.
How do people react when you take their phones from them?
They are shocked.
Which approach makes more sense? Plus, Timothy Chalamet only on 60 Minutes.
Don't miss true crime anytime you want, anywhere you go, with the 48 Hours podcast. Real crimes.
Like a John Grisham novel come to life.
Real lives.
He pointed a gun to me and said, "This is the day you die." And he shot me.
Real justice.
There's some questions that have to be asked and need to be answered.
I'm an innocent man, and I hope the whole world can see it now.
Catch the latest episodes. Listen to 48 Hours on Apple Podcasts.
The all-new CBS Evening News, every weeknight.
This is CBS.
Nearly 1 year after a cargo ship struck the Baltimore Francis Scott Key Bridge, triggering its collapse and killing 6 people, the NTSB issues an urgent safety recommendation. It's warning dozens of other bridges across the country that have not been assessed for their risk of collapse in the case of a similar accident. Let's listen in.
Today, we're issuing 4 urgent safety recommendations to bridge owners, the Federal Highway Administration, the United States Coast Guard, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Specifically, we're urging 30 owners of 68 bridges in 19 states to perform a vulnerability assessment of their bridge's risk of catastrophic collapse from a vessel collision, determine whether they need to implement countermeasures to reduce vulnerability, report their findings to the NTSB, and if warranted, implement a comprehensive risk reduction plan that includes, at a minimum, short and long-term strategies to reduce the probability of a bridge collapse from a vessel collision.